Where to book a hotel in San Francisco. So you're planning a trip to San Francisco, and with so many neighborhood and hotel options, choosing where to stay can feel overwhelming. But we have you covered. Today, we're breaking down 5 neighborhoods where there are a good amount of hotels in which each of these 5 neighborhoods offers. Your main concern, likely, is will we be safe? Don't mind these guys. They're just breaking into a car on Alcatraz Island. Nonetheless, impressive. And the cars are even floating. Some of these neighborhoods may be controversial. We'll explain. Now, whether you're looking for a romantic getaway, a family-friendly adventure, or a base for exploring San Francisco's iconic sites, where you stay matters. In this video, we'll help you find the perfect neighborhood and hotel to match your style. And we will give you the best way to search for hotels in San Francisco. Yeah, we're going to discuss other obvious neighborhoods that you're going to want to visit, like Chinatown, for instance, but don't necessarily have a big inventory of hotels. In this video's title, Must Know Areas and Tips, the tips part of this video includes what may be most on your mind as a traveler. How bad is the homelessness and drug issues? Now, throughout this video, when you see this breaking news prompt, we share some footage and breaking news on the issues that may be of concern to you when choosing a hotel. What was that for?
Making sure you're not a robot or that AI stuff.
It pisses me off when I'm searching YouTube for content about San Francisco, and all I find is this.
These are the top 10 things to do in San Francisco.
Or even maybe a more robotic voice.
These are the best hotels to stay in San Francisco.
Some of these channels are just automated or AI. How about sometimes when the B-roll's not even of San Francisco? Like this. That is not the Golden Gate Bridge. Or there may be a channel with some tourists coming over for the first time and claims,
"This is the best hotel in San Francisco."
how do they know if they've only stayed once?
So, in this video, we will equip you with insider knowledge to navigate through San Francisco's hotel scene, ensuring you find the perfect accommodation for any occasion.
Insider knowledge? Yeah, I'm the insider knowledge. I'm the one who did the homework for you. Welcome to Sippy Cup Adventures. We're a travel channel about travel in Northern California, mostly.
If you ever hear that sound coming out of someone's room, just don't go in.
In our next video, we're going to discuss how to save on hotels in San Francisco with some tips. Speaking of tips, here's a tip for car break-ins. Don't leave anything in your car. You're welcome. Moving on. But first, let's have some fun. I'm going to give you 4 trivia questions throughout the video with the answers at the back. So let's start with number 1. Which famous San Francisco landmark was originally supposed to be painted black and yellow as a safety precaution? Okay, so let's go over the best way to find hotels. So you go to Google Earth, whether it's on your cell phone, your tablet, or your desktop. I'm on a desktop. You're going to type in San Francisco in the title bar right there and click on hotels. And you want to punch in your dates, and we're going to do 4 guests. Okay, now you got your dates in. Okay, we got a whole bunch of them, right? You can go to guest rating. I want a minimum 3.5 star hotel. You can go to brands. You can see Four Seasons, Hilton, Hyatt, Marriott. That's probably not going to be much of a consideration. But here's the neighborhood. Let's go to Fisherman's Wharf. Done. Now we got hotels in the Fisherman's Wharf area. Amenities. Must have a pool. Okay, that eliminates a few. Hotel class. Well, not going to really get 5-star in Fisherman's Wharf. We'll just go with a 3-star. And it looks like we have no options. Let's try 4-star. Okay, there's a few. Is free cancellation a big thing? Alright, so we're gonna clear. I wanted to revisit the brands filter. It may not be that important to you, but if you have loyalty points to a certain hotel chain, then this would come in handy. I give another example here, but we'll just fast forward through it. I mean, I could do this all day. It's fascinating, but I think you get the point. Again, use the filters you find necessary. Sometimes here on Google Maps as well, after playing with it a bit, the site will get a little wonky, and you may have to exit and just restart the Google Maps. Yeah, when the hotels are listed over here on the left, for instance, our favorite spot, the Intercontinental, it's going to give you prices. You know, for instance, on hotels.com or Expedia, $265, you're probably going to be on a low floor staring into a building, right? But if you call the hotel, again, this will be explained more in our next video, you could probably get the same rate, if not cheaper. So this is just an idea of the prices. Let's start with the most popular destination in San Francisco, especially for families, and that's Fisherman's Wharf, seen here overlaying in brown. Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco is a bustling, tourist-centric area with a mix of attractions, dining options, and scenic views. The area is home to Pier 39, Ghirardelli Square, and the famous sea lions, as well as the iconic Fisherman's Wharf. Like I said, lots of kids' activities. This is taken straight off of fishermanswharf.org, Umbrella Alley, the Cartoon Art Museum, Ben and Jerry's, the Museum Mécanique, Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, Ripley's Believe It or Not, yes, again, the Sea Lions, the Pizzeria, the Infinite Mirror Maze, the Flyer Thrill Zone, whatever that may be.
And here on Pier 39, want to go in the blue and gold fleet. Here's where you sign up or buy tickets. Blue and gold.
Yeah, so on Pier 39, you got the blue and gold fleet, or you can buy tickets for the red and white fleet that takes you on tours around the bay, as well as tickets to Alcatraz. As many times as we visited San Francisco, we have only stayed in the Fisherman's Wharf area once, and that was our most recent trip, and that's because we were on a private boat party, which originated out of the wharf area. By the way, this was a magical trip. It was in October, and you can get some awesome weather in October. It was so warm, we didn't have to wear a sweatshirt all day, and it went into the evening till about 9 o'clock. We stayed at the Hotel Zoe in Fisherman's Wharf. I mean, it was a good stay, but the main reasons we don't stay in Fisherman's Wharf are because we enjoy the high-rise hotels where you can span the cityscape. And within Fisherman's Wharf, there are no high-rise hotels. 5 stories is the max. And in the Fisherman's Wharf area, it's a long way from our music events. So we have to pay a little bit more in ride sharing. So we prefer more in the downtown financial district when we go to San Francisco. But we have a video that we will put down below in the description where we go into a deep dive into the hotels in Fisherman's Wharf, and we talk about parking, so be sure to check that out. And our final point on Fisherman's Wharf is the area is generally safe, and although citywide car break-in numbers are down, Fisherman's Wharf still tends to lead in break-in numbers. But again, how do you prevent break-ins? You get an A+. All right, trivia time. Question number 2. What natural disaster caused a massive sinkhole in San Francisco's Sea Cliff neighborhood in 1995, swallowing an entire mansion? Let's head to our next neighborhood as we move from the Fisherman's Wharf to the Embarcadero and the Financial District, seen here in orange. The Embarcadero in San Francisco is a vibrant and diverse area with a lot to offer. I mean, the Embarcadero is known for its bustling atmosphere, especially during events like New Year's Eve, the San Francisco Marathon, or Fleet Week. And we've stayed during Fleet Week. Now, if you have kids and you don't want to stay at the crowded Fisherman's Wharf area, then the Embarcadero would be the next best place. Located on Pier 15 on the Embarcadero, the Exploratorium is a must with your kids, as you can explore the world through science, art, and human perception. There's a number of bars and restaurants to explore in the region, and the ferry building is always fun to explore with its shops and restaurants. I mean, you can find homemade chocolate, clam chowder, or fresh baked bread. You could even take a ferry. You could take a ferry maybe to Treasure Island, and we have a video on that, or visit Jack London Square in Oakland. We have a video on that as well. Ferry's underrated. You can take it to really explore and get a good view of the cityscape. Now, the adjoining Financial District it's really quiet because most of the hustle and bustle takes place during the week. I mean, it's not at pre-pandemic levels yet as far as foot traffic, but walking in the Financial District gives you that big city feel, and it's mostly flat with a number of eateries to choose from. And in the Financial District, the cable cars are right there. And catching a cable car in the Financial District is easier than catching a cable car, for instance, in Union Square or Fisherman's Wharf, as the lines are typically shorter in the Financial District. So you could jump on the cable car at Drum and California Street, or anywhere really along California Street. Another fun thing to do, especially if you have kids, is visit the Salesforce Park. I mean, it's a 5-acre elevated park. It's really impressive. There's stunning views of the San Francisco skyline, and you can get a bite to eat at the beer garden, or just let the kids run around in a safe environment, and it's completely free. Now, we've stayed at a number of hotels within the Financial District. Again, they offer the high floors, so you can see over the cityscape. But our favorite is the Hyatt Regency Embarcadero. Just so much to see, and you get great views and really encapsulate that San Francisco feel. Now let's move on to the next neighborhood, and that is Nob Hill, seen here in blue. Now we're getting into some hills known to San Francisco. Nob Hill is a great choice if you value safety and historical charm, and it's known for its luxury hotels and buildings. It's ideal for those who enjoy a quieter, more upscale environment with easy access to amenities. It's a great region for bars, restaurants, and shopping. Nob Hill's luxury hotels include the Fairmont and the Intercontinental Mark Hopkins. A little bit too bougie for us, honestly. I know the rooms are swanky, but the windows are small. We prefer the big glass panes. For that reason, it gives us an excuse not to stay there. Well, the windows are too small, so we're not staying there, when the reality is they're just too damn expensive. Anyways, Grace Cathedral is a famous landmark here. It's the largest church in San Francisco and may be the most beautiful. So Nob Hill is generally considered safe, especially north of California Street, but be cautious of areas marked as Lower Nob Hill or Tender Knob, which I've never heard before, because that's closer to the Tenderloin and it's less safe. But you can walk to Russia Hill, Chinatown, or to Pacific Heights, but be warned it's all downhill when walking there, so you may want to ride share or take a cable car back up. I mean, if you look on Google Maps, just regular flat maps, 2D, you don't recognize the elevation change, so be warned of that. Now, some things to see include the Tonga Room and Hurricane Bar inside the Fairmont Hotel. I mean, this is a historic bar that features an island-themed cocktails and dishes. Now, Patty and I have never been there, but it seemed like a lot of fun. The United Nations Charter was drafted here in 1945, Well, probably not in the Tonga room, but at the Fairmont, hence all the country's flags outside the entrance. Now the top of the Mark at the Mark Hopkins is stunning. We have been there before. You need to go on a clear night, however, it can be shrouded in Carl the fog. It's one of those few bars with amazing 360-degree views. Make reservations. You definitely need reservations. There is the cable car museum too. It's still amazing that actual cables pull these cars. And there's the antique vibrator museum.
Before electricity, and during the time that electricity wasn't everywhere yet, we had mechanical vibrators. If you ever hear that sound coming out of someone's room, just don't go in.
Yes, you heard me right, a vibrator museum inside the Good Vibrations adult shop. Come on now, they're health and beauty aids before they were known as what they are known for now, or at least what I've been told. Okay, it's trivia time again. Question number 3. We know Lombard Street is the most famous street in San Francisco. But what street is actually the steepest in the city? We will go with multiple choice here. Is it A, Lombard Street, B, Clay Street, C, Bradford Street, or D, Filbert Street? The next neighborhood up would be Union Square, seen right here in green. Union Square is a popular place to stay simply because it has the highest concentration of hotels and it's close to a lot of the touristy destinations, as well as its proximity to the transportation hub, which includes BART, Muni, even the cable cars, and Central Station.
Union Square was once the mecca of shopping in the city, but many stores like Nordstrom's, The Gap, North Face, and most recently Macy's have left.
Yeah, even the once thriving Westfield Mall, which lies in Union Square or SoMa, depending on who you ask, has become a ghost town. I mean, the mall is now simply known as the San Francisco Center.
The narrative from the doomsayers is that it's because of the homelessness and crime, but this is happening in a lot of the big cities across the country. Brick and mortar retail just isn't what it used to be.
Yeah, and there's mixed feelings about safety, with some mentioning an increase in police presence. I mean, there is an increase in police presence, and a sense of unease due to the number of homeless individuals. But again, most of the homeless are not going to bother you, nor are they violent.
But Union Square has been adapting with more outdoor dining, pedestrian-friendly spaces, and pop-up events that are bringing life to the area. There's more live music and art installations keeping the area engaging, and new retail stores are starting to replace the vacant buildings.
Because of the increase in security measures and revitalization efforts, they're helping to restore the confidence.
And there's still enough charm left in Union Square to make a vacation out of it, especially during the holiday season. My favorite.
Union Square is the heart of San Francisco. If you seek the true essence of San Francisco, then book a hotel here. You'll be fine. Now, the final neighborhood we're going to cover here is quite complex. We spend the most time here figuratively in this video and quite literally. And on a literal sense, our favorite hotel is in this neighborhood. Now, when we first started making trips to the city because of our music events back in 2020, we only stayed at this hotel that we're going to speak of here shortly. And we didn't dare venture too far away from our stay here. Now, since then, we have grown with our visits to the city. So this neighborhood, it's special to us. Despite its concerns, it could be an option for you to stay. So let's dive into its complexity.
SoMa, which is south of Market, seen here in yellow, is a large neighborhood in the center of San Francisco.
It stretches from Market Street to the waterfront. The area includes Oracle Park, in the eastern section, home of the San Francisco Giants, as well as many tech startups and warehouses. And we'll briefly discuss where to stay if you're visiting Oracle Park to go visit the Giants.
So the SoMa neighborhood has a unique and varied vibe that can be both appealing and challenging. The neighborhood has its share of safety issues, including property crime and homelessness. That's the challenging part. But the appealing part of SoMa is that
yeah, our favorite hotel is located in SoMa, that being the Intercontinental on 5th and Howard. And we've got a video here strictly on the Intercontinental. It's always felt safe to us, but because San Francisco is so compacted by its size, often the difference from just one street to the next can be a whole new world. I mean, this is the case with the Intercontinental, we've learned, as you're okay on Howard and 5th, but one block over at 6th and Mission, yeah, it's a bit rough.
there are a lot of services for the homeless in this area, and that's why they're hanging out, doing things out in public. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. And SoMa is centrally located within the city, so it's easy to get anywhere. And for us, we stay here mostly because it's closer to our music venues. So it's less money spent on ride shares. Now, when we want to film in San Francisco, we will go to another hotel to film. But when we're just going to a music event and it's not YouTube worthy, it's kind of, the Intercontinental is just kind of our default stay.
Yeah. You'll see a lot of business folks because the Moscone Event Center is located in the heart of SoMa. So there's many conventions in the area. The pandemic certainly suppressed them, but they're starting to come back.
Speaking of the Moscone Center, the surrounding Yerba Buena Gardens, which seamlessly integrates with the Moscone Center, is a collection of mixed-use spaces with a number of cultural facilities and performance venues where you can picnic while enjoying live performances. There's a kids' play area, there's a carousel, and there's fountains. There is a ton to see and do.
Joyride Pizza in Yerba Buena Island. No, not Yerba Buena Island. Yerba Buena Gardens.
So on both sides of Howard Street, in between 3rd Street and 4th Street, lies Yerba Buena Gardens. You have the Great Lawn where you can have a picnic while watching performances. You have the Fun Zone that includes an amphitheater, playground, ice arena, the carousel and museum, a bowling center, and here is Joyride Pizza. Lots to see and do. And this breaking news is this. Now this video was uploaded from California Insider 3 weeks ago, which would be around the 1st of February here in 2025. This is Cedric Akbar speaking. Now Akbar is a recovery expert that works with this population. Here's what he has to say.
And as of today, most of the Tenderloin, the area where most of the activity has happened, is basically cleaned up. You may have 1 or 2 blocks that are with people on them, but one thing is gone, all the tents are gone. And they're moving people off of the street. But what they've done is moved everybody from the Tenderloin to the 6th Street corridor, one of the main thoroughfares of coming off the freeway, and from Market Street to about Folsom Street, which is about a 4-block range, and the alleys in between. It's just open air drug markets, open air drug use, and the decadence of whatever happened in the city over the last 4 years.
Now, if you want to see the full version of this video and what Akbar said in the interview, the link is down below in the description. There's a lot of positivity coming to San Francisco. There's already been an update to the update. We go from the video from February 1st to this published article on February 21st. Now that breaking news comes from this recently published article in the San Francisco Standard on February 21st, 2025, that is reporting that the shift of this activity has moved from 6th Street to the Mission District, where this illegal activity has centered around 16th Street and the BART station. That's not good. But let's be clear on illegal activity. It's not a crime to be homeless. It's the open drug use, the drug sales, the selling of food items on the streets, and being drunk in public. That's the illegal activity we speak of. Now, I did some research stemming from this article from the San Francisco Standard, and locals say that this is nothing has changed in the Mission District. This area has always been a hub of this illegal activity. Now, why this apparent shift has taken place is explained in the article, and I'm going to leave a link down below to the Reddit thread that posted this article from the San Francisco Standard. I'd share the link from the Standard itself, but there's now a paywall there. You have to subscribe. The Standard used to be free, and I utilized it often, but I'm not paying for it, at least yet. So the article is copied and pasted in this Reddit thread, so you can read it there. Again, the link will be down below. But I also reached out to Robert. Now, Robert has his channel, The West Coast Walker, who has graciously allowed me to use footage from his videos for this video. So a lot of this footage you're seeing from Robert is in the B-roll that goes around in the background. And he believes that nothing much has changed on this 6th Street corridor. Now, why am I sharing all this? It's important to you, the one choosing where to get a hotel in San Francisco. And SoMa is an integral region of the city to consider, especially for the business traveler. The area is large and there are so many options for hotel stays, and you want to know if you're safe. If this 6th Street change has taken place with the homeless, then SoMa's going to be much safer to stay, right? And we are actually visiting San Francisco and staying at the Intercontinental on the weekend of March 8th. So we're going to go look for ourselves if I don't get any answers. Okay, let's get rid of the depressing footage and talk about the more appealing side of SoMa. And let's take a look at the area where Oracle Park lies if you're going to catch a Giants game. So yeah, hotels close to Oracle Park. Now, we've stayed at the Hotel Via, which is literally across the street. Stayed there twice, not for Giants games, but there's the Hyatt Place, which we haven't stayed at, but you can't go wrong with the Hyatt Place. Then across the bridge on 3rd Street is the Luma Hotel. We've stayed there as well. A couple other hotels that we may recommend that are within walking distance, and I'm going to get the exact distance here in a minute. But the first is the Clancy Hotel, walking distance to Oracle Park, and we've also stayed at the Canopy Hotel. We'll cover those briefly here in a second. Now, we have stayed twice at the Hotel Via, an independent hotel, but again, not for Giants games, but instead for our music events. Hotel Via has a rooftop bar and lounge that hosts many events. We do have an in-depth video on Hotel Via that we will put down in the description.
So ultimately, I did not decide to wear this top, but I did decide to wear kitten ears.
Now, Hotel Luma is a nice stay. When we did stay there a few years ago, they didn't have a breakfast options or even a coffee pot in your room. That's kind of unheard of, but I have to imagine that has changed. But the rooftop bar and lounge, Cavagna, is really nice. Again, we have a full-length video on the Luma where we talk about our stay and how to visit Cavagna and how getting on the rooftop is a bit of a process.
So, Henry the robot delivers whatever you want.
What's it?
You just dial 0 from the hotel phone, and
he
brings it.
rotates up to the.
He rotates up.
Rotates up. Oh.
Rolls up.
And in our video, see what Henry can and cannot deliver to your room. And did he take my $40? Yeah, it's all in the video. Now, just an 8-minute walk from the Luma Hotel are these food and beer gardens, Spark Social and Park Lab Gardens. They're just across the street from each other on 4th Street, but there are rotating food trucks, a beer and sangria garden. There's mini golf at Park Lab, and both are extremely kid and dog friendly. We visited during Halloween and there was a dog costume contest going on.
So Patty has this thing about if you're gonna buy one glass of champagne, you gotta buy the whole bottle. Is that right?
By the time you pay for 2, you might as well buy the whole bottle.
So we're sitting out here amongst all these people. The bottle of champagne, and I'm having a beer.
Now, back in 2022, we stayed at the Canopy Hotel. It was the first week it was open. It used to be a Virgin brand hotel. So because it was new, we had to be very patient. Let's just say that. Now, the Canopy, like the Luma Hotel, has a rooftop bar and lounge called Shelby's. Now, the Canopy is a 20-minute walk to Oracle Park, and we do have a video on the Canopy down below in the description. See if they know how to make a proper espresso martini or not. Another hotel I said we would revisit is the Clancy Hotel, a Marriott Autograph Collection. In the Clancy, it's just a 14-minute walk to Oracle Park. A good stay, we recommend it.
We're herding cats here. Patty's got her wine, her espresso martini, and now a espresso coffee.
Okay, it's time for the 4th and final trivia question. Here we go. Before becoming a famous prison, what was Alcatraz Island originally used for? So now we're going to pivot to neighborhoods that may be bringing you to the city to tour, but don't necessarily have a big inventory of hotels. So you'll want to stay at an adjacent neighborhood that we spoke of prior and walk, drive, or rideshare to. The first of those neighborhoods is, well, we're actually going to cover 2. It's Japantown and Hayes Valley. They're about a 15-minute stroll between the 2 neighborhoods. Japantown is a vibrant neighborhood. It's got a lot of things to see and do. It's the oldest Japantown in the United States. Now, when we stayed here, we stayed at the Kimpton Hotel Enzo in Japantown just once. I mean, it was okay. Again, it's not the high-rise hotel we prefer, but there are not any options for high-rise hotels in Japantown or the immediate area. Now, for this trip, we chose Japantown because we were attending a music event in Golden Gate Park. And Japantown is close to the park. Because there's mostly neighborhoods surrounding Golden Gate Park, there's just not a lot of hotel options. Now, we certainly enjoyed the cuisine Japantown offered. I mean, the offerings were overwhelming. But it was during our stay in Japantown that we happened upon Hayes Valley. We had dinner at the Absinthe Brasserie and Bar and had this delicious French onion soup. I'm a big fan of French onion soup. The area was so eclectic and I never felt more safe in San Francisco. It was just vibrant. And while visiting Hayes Valley, we saw that this was a trendy neighborhood known for its high-end restaurants and cool little coffee shops. In Hayes Valley, it's close to Alamo Square, home of the ever-popular Painted Ladies, and the architecture is classic San Francisco with all the Victoria homes in the region.
Park. One police action, nearly 90 people arrested. That's the headline after a massive raid at Jefferson Square Park in San Francisco. The police chief says there were so many people taken into custody last night that both the police and sheriff are still tallying the various drug charges each person is facing. NBC Bay Area's Cedric Quintana explains.
At about 10:30 p.m., residents started seeing a swarm of police lights around Jefferson Square Park near the city's Japantown. Dozens of San Francisco police and sheriff's deputies moved in and began making arrests. So many, in fact, a sheriff's bus was used to take all the suspects to jail.
Jefferson Square Park is in Japantown, and on your travels, if you're walking from Japantown to Hayes Valley, you're likely to pass the park. And again, this report was from February 27th of 2025.
Last night's raid, and if necessary, they hope more happen, but they also tell me that they are worried about where the people who were arrested are going to go to next.
Residents say this park started getting more busy at night when the city started clearing out Willow Street in the Tenderloin. And it became even more intense when the city started clearing out 6th Street a couple weeks ago.
As you recall, Mr. Akbar said it moved from the Tenderloin to 6th Street, and then was reported by the San Francisco Standard after this video that no, it went from 6th Street on to the Mission being the new Tenderloin. So did the issue simply switch over to Japantown?
That's something Police Chief Scott says he's well aware of.
We are going to do our jobs. We're going to make sure that we don't take a problem from one neighborhood and plant it in another neighborhood.
The point of me reporting this is that things are being done in San Francisco. Arrests are being made, unlike these past recent years. So you could start to feel more safe about visiting the city. Our next neighborhood is North Beach. You see North Beach here in green. Known as San Francisco's Little Italy, North Beach is a neighborhood filled with Italian restaurants, coffee houses, and bookstores. Now, I can honestly say, with all our travels to the city, we've never been to North Beach. Well, to explore, that is. But it's also likely our travels have not even taken us through North Beach. With that said, I am very aware of what North Beach has to offer. It is on our bucket list. The intersection of Stockton and Union Street is the most bustling area in the neighborhood. All kinds of shops and restaurants to visit. Now you can visit Coit Tower or Washington Square Park, the Beat Museum, a collection of artifacts and memorabilia from the Beat generation of the 50s. There is Vesuvio Cafe, Cafe Triste. You can visit Columbus Avenue and walk to the City Light Booksellers, or go to Original Joe's, an iconic restaurant. That has definitely been on our bucket list. But a must is visiting Tony's Pizza, perhaps the most famous pizzeria in the city, if you can navigate the lines, that is. Now, North Beach neighborhood is bordered by Chinatown, and speaking of Chinatown, when we reserve a hotel, we look at restaurants within walking distance, and here at the Hilton, we're on the edge of Chinatown, so you've got. Honestly, I'm intimidated by Chinese food because there's so many of them. I don't know which one to go to, whether they're good or not. So I'm like, just give me American fare. Yeah, well, steak and potatoes are not what Chinatown is known for. Anyways, Chinatown is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's simple. Just stroll through the streets and taste its authentic cuisine or people watch. Now, if I may pivot a bit, I remember going to Disneyland with my mom and my grandma as a kid. And, hey, Grandma, you want to go on the ride? And she would just say, no, I'm just going to people watch. And I thought, how boring. Well, now as I approach grandparents' age with no grandkids, I get it. People watching is fascinating, and this is the area to do it. The typical starting point in Chinatown is at the Dragon Gate at Bush and Grant Streets. You know, and everybody has their own recommendation for a restaurant. I mean, it can make your head spin, honestly, especially within Chinatown. There is a high volume recommendation I've read, however, for the egg tart from Golden Gate Bakery. And Golden Gate Bakery, seen here on Google Maps, here on Grant Avenue, doesn't look like much. I just see a lot of graffiti and a lot of bars, but guess when it's open, it's the place to go. And if you're looking for sourdough, you're not going to find any in Chinatown. And by the way, there's a big markup on the sale of teas. I mean, you can have a cup of tea, but if you want to buy a bunch of tea, reportedly it's just cheap tea packaged as premium tea. Take that for what it's worth. There are not really any hotels in Chinatown other than budget-friendly hostels or guest house. But there is the Hilton San Francisco Financial District where we've stayed before. It's very affordable, most likely because it's a little worn around the edges, if you will. But the Hilton has a wonderful staff and that offers stunning views like this. Now, if you want to see Patty's issues getting stuck in an elevator while staying at the Hilton San Francisco, we have a video down in the description.
It wasn't as bad as it could have been.
No, it wasn't. Whatever it wasn't a real threat, but it was kind of scary stopping on the 9th floor and an alarm starts going off and then the elevator immediately goes to the lobby. So that was a little like, what's going on? And poor housekeeping was, obviously she'd never had it happen either.
The Haight-Ashbury and the Castro District. I mean, the Haight-Ashbury has this 60s spirit even today, and is the birthplace of the hippie counterculture. I mean, it was the epicenter of the Summer of Love in 1967 and continues to attract those interested in this historical significance. I mean, the area is filled with vintage clothing stores, record shops, and quirky cafes that reflect this, countercultural roots.
It's a very cool store.
In the Castro District, which is about a 27-minute walk from the Haight-Ashbury District, it's the most famous LGBTQ plus neighborhoods in the world. It's known for its a vibrant community, such historical significance with the gay rights movement, and a lively atmosphere. While the vibe of the Haight-Ashbury area is more commercial today, you can still feel the history. Put yourself back in time with the thick smell of incense and, yes, pot, and the sounds of Jefferson Airplane or Grateful Dead drifting from open windows in the neighboring Victorian homes, or maybe even hosting an impromptu show on a corner. I mean, history still lingers, making you pause, imagine, and think how simple or irresponsible life was or may have been during that era.
And a little cute outdoor or indoor grocery store here, fruit market / deli. It looks like they have made to order sandwiches.
Now, Robert speaks of Gus's Market on the Haight. Fun family fact, my grandfather owned this building from 1951 to 1962. It was known as Agnew's Pharmacy. Yes, in 1962, when it started getting a little goofy, he sold it. But my family grew up in San Francisco, so just a little fun history fact.
Okay, there's a guy full on naked in there. He's got a little G-string. Yeah, everything flopping in the, stationary. He's about 65 years old. He's not fat like me, thank God.
All right, it's time to answer the trivia questions with a little help from some friends. So, question number 1 was, which famous San Francisco landmark was originally supposed to be painted black and yellow as a safety precaution?
The answer is the Golden Gate Bridge. It was almost painted in black and yellow stripes before the iconic international orange was chosen.
Question number 2, what natural disaster caused a massive sinkhole in San Francisco's Sea Cliff neighborhood in 1995, swallowing an entire mansion?
Heavy rains led to the collapse of a 100-year-old brick sewer tunnel under El Camino del Mar, creating a 40-foot deep by 250-foot wide sinkhole that destroyed a Tudor mansion and forced evacuations in the area.
So, heavy rains, not an earthquake. Did I get you? Question number 3, we ask you which was the steepest street in San Francisco? And it was multiple choice. Was it A, Lombard Street, B, Clay Street, C, Bradford Street, or D, Filbert Street?
The answer is C, Bradford Street. Bradford Street has a 41% grade, making it the steepest street in San Francisco.
And the final trivia question was, before becoming a famous prison, what was Alcatraz Island originally used for?
Alcatraz Island was a military fortress and housed the first operational lighthouse on the West Coast.
Thank you for watching Sippy Cup Adventures of Northern California. We hope you found this video helpful. We appreciate you being here.